Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Pacers Daily. I am your host, Hery Acosta. Game 6 is coming up here real soon. Pacers need to lock in. There is no room for error for a second in Game 6 if you want to even make it to a Game 7. Now, don't get me wrong, the Thunder will want to try and win on their turf, to win a championship on their turf, but that doesn't mean they're not going to come out firing from all cylinders at Game 6. If they have the opportunity to take it in Indy, they will take it in Indy. So the Pacers, whether Tyrese Halliburton plays, whatever, they need to play the best game that they have played in the playoffs. This is the first time the Pacers have been down in the entirety of the playoffs. And it's a 3-2 in the NBA Finals, with Game 7 going to be in one of the hardest stadiums to win. Now, yes, the Pacers have won at the Paycom Center, but that was also a Game 1 where the Pacers actually did not play good at all, and the Thunder really weren't shooting well. The last two games, the Thunder absolutely outdid us. Game 4 is a little different. We did have the lead for a little bit. But Game 5, we just did not show up at all. Countless turnovers, bad games from Halliburton, Nembhard, and Matherin. It was just embarrassing to watch. Our rotations were jacked up. Everything. It starts with Carlisle and it ends at the end of the bench. Everybody needs to lock in for this game. That means rotations need to be right. Toppin needs to be one of the first people off. Toppin and McConnell need to be the first two off the bench. Matherin following. Shepherd needs to play more minutes. Tony Bradley should not be playing as many minutes as he is. Now, the reason he's in is to prevent offensive rebounds for Hartenstein, but he cannot body Hartenstein. Thomas Bryant can. Thomas Bryant's not the best rebounder, but he's a big body in the paint. But it's just as simple as that. Playing their best. We got to outwork the Thunder. That means grabbing more rebounds, getting more fast break points. The transition game has to be there. It has to be a lot better than Oklahoma's. So far, the Pacers have just looked dead. Now, it's a good thing. We have won 2 games. So we've at least taken them to 6. Now, that's not enough. Pacers need to win 6 and 7. Now, winning Game 7 is going to be the toughest task ever. But since we're focusing on Game 6, just start by knowing you're at home. All of Indiana is behind you. We want to see the city have a championship in basketball. Obviously, we had the Fever in 2012. Colts won in 2006, 2007 season. But the Pacers, since the ABA, since 1973, have not brought a championship to Indiana. And they don't even really consider the ABA stats anymore. So it's just very important that the Pacers lock in, know that there's a huge, huge following here. A lot of people outside of Indiana internationally are rooting for the Pacers. They want to see this team succeed. They want to see this team play their hearts out. I mean, look at me. I got 2 from different games. First one is from Game 2 against the Bucks. This one's from a watch party. Game 3 against the Thunder. So we're all here. We're all supporting. We all need Pacers to just work hard. Make sure that you get in rhythm early. Don't let the Thunder go on any crazy runs that we seem to be letting happen in the fourth quarter. There's all things to look at. And this is a big one. This is something that the Pacers have been doing pretty good. Analysts will talk. Stephen A. Smith will talk. Kendrick Perkins will talk. Those are 2 of the biggest Pacer haters I've ever seen in my life. And when it comes to actual journalism on TV, there seems to be a lot of bias in the media. And there was a comment that Kendrick made before Game 5 that, don't get me wrong, if you're not on live TV commenting about a game, it's a funny comment to make. He said that there's a better chance of dinosaurs walking on the court than the Pacers winning a game in Paycom Center. Now, don't get me wrong. Even as a Pacers fan, that is a funny comment. But it's just not something you say on TV, in my opinion, especially when you're supposed to be impartial. Like you're not supposed to root for either team. And obviously, we know that Stephen A. Smith is going to root for the Knicks. As a diehard Knicks fan, he shows as much bias as anyone towards the Knicks, and he knows that the Knicks are not. We're not going to win, but still did his stuff. But Kendrick has ties to the Thunder. Kendrick played for the Thunder for years after he left the Celtics, and he has been one of the biggest Pacer haters throughout this whole playoffs. Yes, you barely hear a single good word come out of him about the Pacers. Same with Stephen A. Smith. The whole Halliburton superstar, not a superstar, that's been all over the news because of those two and because of um, Jay Williams. He has his opinions, but in the most recent episodes, he kind of retracted his statement about Halliburton being a superstar. By the way, Halliburton was injured the whole game. He had a very bad game. Don't get me wrong. Very bad game. Also was hurt. Tried his best, but it just didn't go well. You can't really. I mean, we've seen how many players have horrible games in this finals. We've seen LeBron's infamous 8-point performance being guarded by JJ Barea. So we've seen Kevin Durant shoot 7 for 33 in a playoff game. Kenyon Martin once shot 3 for 23 in a playoff game. Klay Thompson's 0 for 10. So this all these very big players have had their bad moments, but yet they will still be considered superstars. So one Halliburton bad game, and don't get me wrong, he's had a few off games. He's had a few less than 10-point games, which yes, not the best. But Hallie's not necessarily someone who needs to get you 30 points. His goal is to get 10, 15 assists. Now, if he gets 10, 10, 20, 30 points along the way, that's what he's going to do. But Halliburton's done it better than anyone. He has been blocking out all the noise, has been helping him play better. Siakam's done the same. They know they're underdogs. They've been underdogs all playoffs. Even when they weren't supposed to be, they were still underdogs. So as long as they can just get their heads in the game outside of ESPN, they don't really have to worry about that. They just have to focus, get this win, make it to Paycom Center. And all just ends on staying cool and confident. Kind of just ties back to my last statement. Stay cool, stay confident. TJ McConnell, if TJ McConnell has a big game, stick with him. Madden has a big game, stick with him. Toppin has a big game, stick with him. Ride the hot hand, and whoever's feeling it. Siakam's going to have a big game. That's just what he's been doing. If the Pacers were to win the finals, Siakam is my pick for finals MVP. The only truly consistent player on the team. Honestly, Hallie would be second, and Neesmith would probably be third. Neesmith's been playing some good defense. Still a lot of weird calls there. We know who's officiating Game 6. Scott Foster. Now, one of two things: he could try to extend it again, so there's a Game 7, or he could just go favor the Thunder like he pretty much did in Game 4. But that's a whole nother topic. I'm not here to blame refs, but everyone knows how Scott Foster is. But as always, I am Hery Acosta. This is Pacers Daily. Boom, baby. Yes, sirs. Let's go, Pacers.